Hey everyone, welcome back to our Sutra Summer Experience. I'm Elisa and this is week 5. Today we're discussing Brahmacharya or conservation of vital energy. This is our fourth yama in our fourth out of 5 yamas that we've been discussing. Again, yamas are ethical practices, and Brahmacharya is the fourth out of 5. So we're using our text, The Path of the Yoga Sutras by Nikolai Bachman, once again. And I wanted to start this discussion by saying that there are a couple different avenues that we can take in discussing Brahmacharya. So the first is a classical, and there are many avenues, but I'm going to highlight two. The first is a classical approach in which Brahmacharya really highlights or really pertains to sexual energy, vital sexual energy, and abstinence. So the first thing Bachman, right out of the gate, comes to this classical definition by saying sensual and sexual impulses are powerful forces that are important for us to moderate. We need our sensory organs to live in this world, but when we are attached to these impulses, they become distracting, hijack our attention, and use up our life force or prana. Brahmacharya is conserving vital energy, especially sexual energy, in order to channel it in more productive directions. The classical approach to brahmacharya is abstinence, or finding a suitable balance between compulsion and control, right, for sexual energy. Another avenue we can take with this is looking at, and this is my preferred way of looking at brahmacharya, it's looking at brahmacharya as moderation or practice of moderation, even mindfulness, if you will. Bachman does touch on this. The direction of yoga, Bachman says, is toward moderation and balance, enjoying what life has to offer, yet not being attached or addicted to these sensations. And I think with this, he's coming more into a modern approach of brahmacharya. He's saying the direction of yoga is towards moderation. And I think we can expand brahmacharya in this modern day, and especially in our westernized practice as a whole. We can expand brahmacharya out to include many, many other things, rather than just keeping it in the arena of sexuality and sexual acts and impulses, right? So Bachman continues that brahmacharya can mean simply conserving our energy. Throughout life, it involves control, moderation, pacing ourselves, and maintaining our inner orientation, right? So we're using these little we're using brahmacharya as little benchmarks, right? Keeping us in check. Yeah. The path of yoga is about living in the outer world responsibly and with kindness while cultivating a connection with our divine inner self. Unhealthy attachments and too many external sensory distractions can derail our attention and curtail our progress. So, with this, he's kind of again bringing in the other yamas. And we'll see he's also foreshadowing our discussion of the niyamas, or our self-care practices. So he's saying if we don't use brahmacharya to control and to restore or maintain balance, it's all the easier to just fall into these sort of lower energy ways of life, right? So, in conclusion, he says that brahmacharya and the balance and moderation it affords us is a major step towards becoming a responsible and balanced person, and contributes to lasting inner contentment. As we'll find, that lasting inner contentment in a few weeks is santosha, and we're allowing our moderation to not just help us control the maybe negative or baser impulses we have, but to also help us find balance with the more sort of restorative and rejuvenating practices that we can participate in. So that's brahmacharya. I hope you enjoyed it. let's talk a little bit about our activity for this week. So, this week I thought it would be fun to bring this teaching directly into your yoga class. So, I want you to think about your favorite class. I want you to think about all the times that you tell yourself, okay, just keep going, push through, push through, push through. And maybe just try for one class, see if you could not. So, see if you could, instead of pushing, skip the chaturanga, or don't go as quickly as the instructor is telling you to, or just find some kind of moderation that would make it a little bit easier for you to work, right? For you to complete the practice. And this isn't so that you'll feel bad at the end or anything like that. This is an experiment. So go into your next yoga class, and even if it's a restorative class or a yin class or myofascial release, you can really practice brahmacharya, or restraint, in yin and restorative and myofascial release by not seeking sensation, right? By just letting the time and the gravity or the action of the therapy ball help your body slowly to incorporate the benefits of the practice, right? So practice restraint and moderation, practice modification, and see if you can find a difference. So at the end of the class, how do you feel? And please do try, if especially if you're doing this with a high energy class, please do try to avoid the judgments and the self-talk that says, like, well, obviously it was a failure because I don't feel like I got a great workout, I didn't push myself. Let's just pretend that we can't have those thoughts. Sit down or use your shavasana time, or even several minutes after shavasana, to really close your eyes and feel into your body. And can you find a part of you that benefits from the moderation? Um, are you maybe not as dirt tired, or are you maybe not as intensely stretched, or are you maybe not as sore? Maybe you do this once right after the class, maybe you do it another time a couple hours later, or even the day after. Compare how you would normally feel with no control and no restraint, to how you would feel with perhaps even excessive restraint, right? So we want to get a good idea of like these extremes, like one end to the other, yeah. And then with that data, maybe record it in a journal, a notebook, or even a voice memo. Record it and come back to it and see if you can find a middle ground where you're conserving your energy, but you're also working and burning away the stuff that you don't need, right? So I invite you to do that with any of your classes this week. Please hop onto our Facebook group and tell us how you're doing. We love to hear your experiences with these sutras and these lessons so far, and I'm just so grateful for the community that we're building around this greater yogic learning. So that's it for me today, you guys. I hope that you're doing well, and I thank you so much for joining me again. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you soon. Bye.